me get one more." These are the words Corporal Desmond Doss said as he prepared to go back onto the middle of the battlefield, unarmed, during World War II, to find another wounded soldier. Doss was a conscientious objector during the Battle of Okinawa, where he saved 75 men without the use of any firearms. He stayed up on the ridge by himself to save lives while everyone else retreated down. While watching the movie about him and what he did on Hacksaw Ridge, I got to thinking how we should have the same attitude about saving the lost as Doss did about saving wounded soldiers. Doss was the only one of his men to believe what he believed. He went into battle without anything to protect himself. He was made fun of, and his fellow soldiers called him a coward, yet he stuck to what he believed in, even when he felt like the world was against him. Doss knew that these lost soldiers didn't have a chance to live. He knew that they would be lost without him. He was determined that nothing would shake his faith and nothing would keep him from doing what he believed to be right. In the movie Hacksaw Ridge, Doss strongly opposed killing based on the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." He refused to touch any type of firearm, even if he didn't have to use it. As he continued to refuse the officer's command to bear arms, he was forced to face the military court-martial. The marshal finally decided to allow him to go into battle without anything to protect himself. He faced a lot of persecution and ridicule for his beliefs, but he didn't allow that to waver his faith in the Bible. Because of his unshakable trust in God, the people around him began to notice how different he was. As Christians in our time and age, sometimes it's really hard for us to have the same faith that Doss did. Though we shouldn't be, we are easily persuaded to follow the world's footsteps in order to believe what they believe. We're often prone to conforming into what the world wants us to be, instead of transforming ourselves and our peers by the renewing of our minds, Romans 12:2. When we let God transform our lives, we have the same dedication to our beliefs as Doss did to his. The people around us begin to notice how different we are. When we stay true to our beliefs, our example can reach the lost. As soldiers in God's army, staying faithful to our beliefs can change everything in our lives. By remaining faithful to God and staying true to our faith, we can invite the lost to be part of God's army too. When Doss was on the ridge as everyone was retreating down, he realized that it was his job to save these lost, wounded soldiers. In his position, who wouldn't be scared? But as he brought another soldier to safety and headed back onto the battlefield, he prayed, "Lord, help me get one more." Even when he was scared for his life, he selflessly cared more about the lives of the people he was saving. When he was scared, he continually reminded himself who was taking care of him and the people he was trying to save. He pushed back his self-built personal fear to accomplish something bigger than himself. Just like it is for us as Christians, reaching the lost can be a scary thing to do. Sometimes we just feel like staying in our comfort zones, but God never told us to do that. In Mark 16:15, he said, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." He's telling us to find these lost people, find the people who don't know about Jesus, and tell them about the cross of Christ and just how important it is. Because what's more important in life, remaining in fear inside our comfort zones, or becoming the reason a lost soul found Christ? As Christians, we're called to push back fear, to break out of our comfort zones, and accomplish something bigger than ourselves so that we can bring these lost people back to Jesus. Corporal Doss was very different from the other soldiers fighting during World War II. While many of the soldiers were only concerned about taking the lives of their enemies, Doss was more concerned about saving the lives of others. He was the only person that went into battle without a gun. His peers thought he was weird, saying that he wasn't doing his job as a soldier by protecting his country. But because Doss stayed true to his faith, he saved many lost souls and impacted many lives. He did the right thing even when it was opposite of what everyone else did. Because of his actions in Guam and in the Philippines, he was awarded the Bronze Star Medal twice. He was also the only conscientious objector to receive the Medal of Honor because of his actions during the Battle of Okinawa. He is living proof that opposites stand out, and in a good way. By standing out for Christ, people can see how we are different than the world by our dedication and ability to reach the lost. In Luke chapter 10, we read about a man who fell among robbers that took everything he had, leaving him half dead. A Levite came across this man, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. A priest also came by, and when he saw him, like the Levite, he passed by. A Samaritan also came to where this man lay on the road, and when he saw him, he felt compassion. He bound up his wounds and took him to an inn so that he could take even more care of him. The priest and Levite were so unwilling and reluctant to do what was right, but the Samaritan had a different perspective. He was moved by God to do what was right, even when it was opposite of what the priest and Levite did. He was willing to help this lost and wounded man, even when he didn't have to. In Luke chapter 10, we read about 3 different parables about things that people lost, but they eventually find them, and when they find them, they rejoice because they found what they had lost. There's no doubt in my mind that when Desmond Doss saved a wounded soldier, he was filled with joy. And that's why he continued to go back onto the battlefield, to bring these lost soldiers home. As young Christians, sometimes it's hard for us to push back fear in order to stand out among a world that just wants to fit in. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, "Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity." It is always in God's character to allow the lost to return when they have wandered from him. So my question for you is, will you be the reason that these lost people bring their heart back to God?